So good. Oh, hello there. You startled me. My name is Laine, and today we're going to be reviewing a little film. I'm meant to be joined by my long-standing review partner, Nicolas Cattelan, but, as usual, he's always late.
Hi, Laine.
Hello, Nick.
How are you?
I'm amazing. How are you?
Spectacular. So, what are we doing today?
We are reviewing a little film, Nick.
Oh yeah? What's that?
I don't know. I don't know the name of the film.
I can't for the life of me think of it.
Forget the flying monster guy. There are people who handle this sort of thing.
I'm sick of him treating me like a kid all the time.
But you are a kid.
This is my chance to prove myself.
Peter, what is going on with you?
I'm really sorry. I'm so busy. I'm slammed.
Don't mess with me, because I will kill you and everybody you love.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Spider-Man Homecoming. And given the recent less than amazing Spider-Man films, this was definitely the Spider-Man film we needed. Or was it the one we deserved?
Pick a character! So what did you think of the film, Nick?
Well, Laine, I have many thoughts indeed. So, to start with, it's good. Had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, there are really high moments in it. Really, really high moments. The Vulture, played by Batman, being one.
Yeah, it's the Marvel film of Spider-Man. It's, a bit more on the ground, the stakes aren't as high, which personally I'm okay with. It didn't take really any bold risks, but it put Spider-Man in the Marvel universe and did have him interact with enough characters that it feels like it exists.
Oh yeah, that's one thing, is that the interactions with Iron Man I thought were very well done.
Yeah.
He was used exactly as he needed to. Right, it wasn't just the Robert Downey Jr. show. Overall, I really enjoyed my time with it, but as a lot of other people are saying on the internet, it's one of the more sort of ineffectual Marvel Cinematic Universe films as yet. That was my biggest issue with it. It was very it didn't reach very far. But the thing is, it got most of what it reached for. It executed them reasonably well. In an overall sense, the tone was actually quite steady and things like that. As far as an MCU film goes, it's fairly high in terms of quality. I loved a lot of the moments. Yeah. There were some really, really high moments, but there's so much of it that's just average.
Kind of exactly what you'd expect. Well, I guess it's exactly what I personally expected from the first ever MCU Spider-Man film. It was a Marvelization, so obviously there were allusions to the previous events. There's setups for the sequel.
Now, that was one of the things it did, which was done especially well in this film.
Yeah, some of it was a bit on the nose.
It was a bit.
But overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it alluded to it. And that was one of the strengths I found with the Spider-Man universe from the comics and the animated series. Spectacular, is that because Spider-Man is filled with a lot of kind of very fodder characters. Yeah. You can set them up without it feeling like Space Jesus Anakin, but it feels like it's like the right balance of kind of like these are just dudes, but without them feeling these are important. Yeah.
Overall, it had some really great moments, followed and preceded by a lot of middle of the pack moments.
And it's not like they were middle of the pack in terms of execution. It's just that we've seen
They
it
were
before.
just fine. You know?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, no component made it weak. It was just exactly the sum of its parts.
Yeah, it was exactly what it set out to be, and what it set out to be wasn't
terribly moving or far-reaching, but it did get that.
Did what it wanted to
which
do.
is a lot more than we can say for a lot of Marvel films, which is also indeed why we haven't done a review in a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of those films, it's just, they're such ineffectual nothing.
Personally, I feel like it's the Marvel movie, but with Spider-Man, which is why I'm personally invested and why there was a lot of fun to be had.
Yeah, I can see your point for that. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's the Marvel movie. That would be more like something like Doctor Strange for me. One thing that it gets much better than most of the other MCU films is Michael Keaton as the Vulture.
The other winged.
Now we're going to talk about the characters. Hey! Epic. Yeah, no, that was one of the very, very strong points. And without wishing to spoil anything at all in this section for his character, I suppose it starts out and he has like a very sort of understandable goal. To some degree. It wasn't executed perfectly in terms of the film, but his character had due motivation and you understand where it's coming from. And then, as events transpire, you really, really he starts to become such a presence and he starts to become more interesting as the film goes on. And that was just extremely well done. The way it terminated, I thought was a bit normal action blockbuster. Little bit, not as bad as Wonder Woman. And this is like one of my favourite Michael Keaton roles, actually.
I understood what he was trying to do and what he wanted to do. Personally, I don't feel that they presented his motivation to us succinctly or especially memorably enough. I thought that he was a very good villain for the most part. He was kind of just the standard bank robber villain who had better motivation than some bank robber villains. I wish that we got to see some of that motivation a bit more and have that play out.
That's true.
We'll get into that in a bit more detail.
There was actually one
later.
gripe I had with the character that was then answered halfway through the film, which I found very cool. I think I always liked the character more than you did, but based on what we're saying.
I liked him a lot based entirely on one scene.
I think it's actually Vulture then Ultron as the two top tier villains in the Marvel of the MCU, and all the others I can't remember any of them.
To be honest, that is a general problem that people have with the MCU, is that the villains are a bit weak.
Not just a bit weak. They put on some eyeshadow and speak in a deep voice, but
They don't do a lot.
they do nothing at all, and they focus on the heroes. Speaking of which, Tom Holland was really good as Spider-Man.
I liked him a lot.
I thought he actually straddled he annoyed me in the beginning a little, in the sort of, especially in the scene that's in all the trailers where he says, "You're not the real Avengers," and he was kind of stumbling. Like at the beginning of that scene, he's kind of putting up the things to try and make a big entrance, but then he's immediately really, really witty. Like that's something I didn't really understand. It was kind of a bit contradictory how he's so snappy already, but then in other moments he's kind of awkward.
Yeah, I feel like he more or less had a decent balance between being
As the film went on,
and
I started to sort of get used to it almost. The problem might just be with me. His performance got better and better as the film got on, and so did I think the film got better and better as the film went on. But peaking at around the end of the second act, I'd say. Very, very close to the way he was in the comics, which was kind
especially as a teenager.
he was a buff dude and he was kind of cool, and he wasn't a super nerd, nor was he a skater punk. He actually straddles that line. I think this is a really, really good Peter Parker. I was almost jealous of him at points because also he's supposed to be 15. Tom Holland's a year older than I am. He's your age.
Yes, he's my
and he's in an Avengers film. And he's got ripped abs. He's got a ripped torso and pecs. Yeah,
I'd probably beat him up.
It almost actually distracted from the film for me on a very personal level. I was like, God damn it, I really want to be Tom Holland right now. His accent was good. He's actually English in real life.
Yeah, I know. And what did you think about the three supporting characters? His best friend, the quasi-love interest, and the kind of cool loner girl.
Oh, and Aunt May.
And Aunt May.
The Aunt May
doesn't really exist.
That's just one thing, is that the Aunt May relationship kind of struck me as a little weird.
Yeah.
Because I mean, while she's on screen, it's fine. But then all the other characters, almost every other character, to a distracting level, is like, oh, she's hot.
Yeah.
And while one of them was funny, Tony Stark's one.
Tony Stark's one.
They forget that we're the only ones who know that she's supposed to be a really old, haggard woman.
Yeah. I thought their relationship was a bit strange.
It was. There's not enough done with it.
Yeah. I feel like a lot more distance in between them than you would normally expect.
Especially where it goes. The point is, he pulled off Spider-Man. Aunt May pulled off a new direction for it. Let's talk about some other characters. The supporting cast, fat, ethnically obscure friend. Yeah, he was a fine character. He didn't have much to him.
He was Chuckles.
He was more of a Chuckles and propelled the plot forward device.
Oh,
Flash Thompson is in it, and he's a nerd.
He comes off as more of a loser than Peter Parker.
Yeah, no, he really does. Yeah, no one likes him, or no one seems
At least
to
it's
like
not
him.
presented as somebody who's likable.
It's not like the Flash Thompson in like a lot of other interpretations.
Yeah.
Where he's like a dumb jock kind of guy, but when he's alone with Peter, he is like a normal dude. He's just doing it for attention and stuff. Whereas this guy just seems to actually be a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah.
Whenever they reboot this franchise, the biggest thing that seems to change is his love interest, and they're just going down the list of importance. Eventually, in the above average Spider-Man in like 2041, he's going to be with Aunt May. She's going to be a 16-year-old. In that version.
Yeah. The quasi-love interest, I felt that the
with Liz Allen.
There's a couple things. One, I didn't really feel like there was much of an entanglement or there was much of a connection between the two. Like, he was kind of like, ooh, I like her because she's popular and pretty. And then she was like, hey, I kind of like him too.
Actually, yeah, I've just thought that one of the main problems with that is that she's kind of like supposed to be in the comics, Liz Allen is the popular girl who then falls for Peter once she then realizes
he's a great person.
And once she realizes that she doesn't need to put up a front of a popular person who's arrogant and stuff in order to make friends.
Yeah.
And the thing is, in doing the sort of popular, when updating it for a modern popular, and it's the nerds that run, so they made her a nerd. They made her a really super intelligent person. That just doesn't work with a lot of what happens in the film. Because a lot of what Spider-Man is really stuck in the 60s ideas of what a nerd is.
I mean, we can still relate to the stereotypical nerd and the stereotypical popular girl and the stereotypical dumb bully guy who's actually just a nice dude, but very insecure.
And while they are putting a lot of effort into sort of modernizing the Spider-Man world, I think it needed a dash of classic cinema.
Yeah.
At least this is just kind of more of a personal thing.
Yeah,
is that we don't really relate to the reality that is portrayed here. And one of the things that could have gone a long way in allowing us to do so would have been sort of setting it in a sort of Reagan era kind of quasi-reality.
Don't get us wrong, we're not like, oh, it needs to be like the comics, otherwise I can't enjoy it, people.
But it's just they've made it weaker by changing it.
Like, you can modernize it to an extent, but like, try to keep the soul of it, essentially. Which is maybe kind of a broader problem with the MCU and the DCEU, is that the films do kind of feel like they lack a bit of a soul because there's so much money at stake.
No, going into this film, my expectations were out of frame.
Yeah.
Because, firstly, the director, who, frankly, and you always have to give people second chances, he has barely anything to his name, and what he does has like a 20% in Rotten Tomatoes. And also it had 6 credited screenwriters, which is too many.
Yeah.
It's not very laser focused.
Yeah. Yeah.
This sounds like we were being really negative. These things that we're explaining are just kind of what keep it from being a really special film.
Yeah.
Are there any other characters?
Well, cool Luna Girl.
Oh yeah, cool Luna Girl. She's there, and she actually.
We don't know.
I see dead people.
She very well could be. She's just everywhere.
No, I actually quite liked her. She grew on me. I liked her from the very, very beginning. Zendaya. She actually she hit something where she was like, she had that sort of like ethereal sense to her, like the sort of goth chick, but not really like a sort of modern goth chick, which is like just a normal person.
Yeah, she was like a goth manic pixie girl.
And she was like, she was very entertaining in the way that she didn't break the fourth wall at all. She struck the perfect balance between being self-aware and irreverent, but without tapping on that fourth wall, just breaking.
To break the fun of it.
Yeah, she's not in on the joke.
No.
That's the thing. But
she's making a few jokes
yeah,
that are
she's making the
quite
jokes.
unique to
yeah,
herself.
and that's what elevates this above a lot of MCU films,
Yeah.
I think. Okay, story and plot. It's very paint by numbers kind of thing.
Yeah. It's
but
the ground
those,
level.
Those numbers were very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like a lot of the components, one in particular, just kind of is set up in a way to just feel like it's just trying to connect things. In a way that doesn't really have any lasting effects past this film. But it wasn't a big damper because the actual thing itself was quite well executed. I thought it was much better when it was a rip-off of like a PG-13 Superbad, when it was just about the high school drama. It was more fun when it was Peter Parker on screen, whereas Spider-Man, it was a lot of just kind of, I felt like I could kind of check out during a lot of the action scenes.
Yes, as is mentioned in the movie itself, it was a ground level plot. And it was
a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah, neighborhood, even though that neighborhood extends
to
almost all of New York.
Yeah, it set the stage for better things,
Yes.
for better components to shine, which is what I suppose this needed to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a careful character study like Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, it was the plot that they needed and the characters that they needed to get Spider-Man comfortably into the MCU. Hopefully they take it a bit further and they kind of do more kind of bold, creative things with it.
I like how it kind of moves away from the components that we've already trodden on twice. The next thing, audio-visual. Now, this is one which I have a big gripe with. Laine, you might not have as much to say as I.
So
I'll just talk to the audience on this one. So, the score was trash.
It was.
I'm not saying compared to the Elfman score, it's bad. I mean, just compared to sound in the film, well, it wasn't damaging to the film. It just did nothing. You'd have felt the exact same thing. You'd have noticed it as much if it wasn't there. It's a very common complaint of the MCU these days. Is the scores are terrible. Passable is not good enough for a film score. It was Michael Giacchino, and he's one of my favorites. And he just did such a lazy, just nothing. It's just. My biggest problem with it is that there's no recognizable theme that goes through. And I actually looked up the score, the theme before having watched the film because I was interested in it and Michael Giacchino. And it's like this pretty fun and happy. It's a really interesting idea. It's the original Spider-Man, but then like with orchestral themes and stuff. And I thought that's actually an interesting way to do it because it's supposed to be harkening back to whatever. Yeah. It's supposed to be the real Spider-Man, and then, I understood that. It only plays once in the film over the Marvel logo.
I do have a bit to say about it, especially the sound. And I feel like it's the soundtrack or score is very easy to be like, oh, it's not important. But like music is like one of the most tangible and important things. Not just in cinema, but like in kind of any visual medium.
And I think that they kind of they drank from the Guardians pond in having some classic rock, some pop songs to play over it, which I actually thought, especially the opening pop song when he's going to school, and it's a side-on shot. I thought that was very inappropriate. He's like almost depressed from like not being called by Tony Stark, and there's this upbeat sort of 80s pop synth track going on. What? They clearly have no idea what they're actually doing. It should have been like one where, like maybe like a more dour pop song, or maybe like a Mad World, or no, that's Donnie Darko. But I mean, something to that effect. It didn't happen much, but it did happen, and it's worth talking about. And then the most important thing for me, that is very often overlooked. No, not the frame rate. Is the cinematography. Anything below like what you'd call, oh, that's really good cinematography, is just crap for a $150 million movie. There's just nothing of none of the shots are interesting in their own right. None of the angles are interesting. I mean, it's like there's nothing being done with the camera angles. It's all just shot. It's not shot for comedy. It's not shot for tension. It's just here's an image. There was a moment where Spider-Man's at his low, and I literally thought while watching it, it's cutting back to the same angle every 2 seconds. It was just a sort of flat thing. It's like a 3/4 of him there. Yeah. And it keeps cutting back to that. And I was thinking, how would Raimi do this? He'd like step back to a wide, maybe not too much motion, maybe like a pull in, and then cut to some components of it, and then cut in, and then it's like concentric, and then you can emulate the comic panel, right?
Yeah.
Whereas
Oh, yes.
the way it was done in the film, it was just on at a 3/4 like a episode of The West Wing. That's one of the biggest things for me. Is that I didn't like the cinematography. I didn't think it took me out of the movie. It just didn't bring me further in.
Yeah.
And that same things could be said for lots of components in this
Yeah.
film. Okay, now it's time for just positives because we have been ragging on this a
Yes,
lot of
that's true.
components of the film. What did you like most about the film?
Just the fact that I get a non-bad Spider-Man experience, you know? I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's always going to be my favorite superhero. He's not the thing that I have the most nostalgia for. That's the Power Rangers. But
For me,
it's not
Spider-Man was the first film I ever saw in theatres with my grandmother back in 2002. And I had all the toys. I had the onesie. I had a Spider-Man car, which wasn't even in the films.
Yes.
No, I drive a car.
Yes, I had that too. That was such a cool thing.
It was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I have this, which was far too expensive, considering I bought it in 2015 when I was 17. No, I'm very, very nostalgic for Spider-Man.
Yeah. Spider-Man's back. The film wasn't awful in any way. Tom Holland is
It's
great.
very good. He shows a lot of promise.
Yeah, and he really has that heart that you kind of want from a Spider-Man. You know, he's like
He was a fantastic
this
performance.
lovable goof.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, he's really trying his best. I'm excited for the potential of the villains and the stories that are going to be told. I hope I know that Tom Holland's going to be consistently good.
He has a lot of very fun moments, and I think he actually elevates the character more than how he's written. I actually consider this to be relatively comparable quality to The Force Awakens. My Force Awakens review was so out of whack, as every single one of my reviews. I find a lot that's lacking in the film.
Yeah.
But in terms of enjoyment and fun, and it is a Spider-Man film, and it has a lot of gags about Spider-Man, it doesn't break the fourth wall as much as all of the others do, with their stupid sort of undercutting humour. It doesn't have much of that at all.
Yeah, there's maybe 2 instances of it.
And I suppose it's the promise of future films
Yes.
that is the most exciting thing about this take on Spider-Man.
And I feel like that's what they set out to do. So they accomplished that in spades.
Yeah, they did. And it's a fun romp. If you don't care about any of the things I do, you will not find a single problem with the film. Unless you're a racist, at which point you'll find an issue with the racially diverse cast.
Yeah, that's true. But
then-
if
but
you're
then you
racist, why are you watching a Spider-Man movie?
then
you have worse things to focus on.
So go join your Ku Klux
why are you
Klan
watching
movement.
our review? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm Chinese, sort of. In the end, it is a really, really fun time at the movies, as everyone else is saying. While it is very inconsequential, it's disposable fun. You don't need to watch it more than once. The Vulture has great moments in it. It has really, really high heights, but then the vast majority of it is just kind of there. It doesn't damage the high heights. It's just I compare it a lot to The Force Awakens in that a lot of components of that film are very flawed. Just the narrative mostly, but it's still exciting because it sets up for a good future. Because Rey's charismatic as hell. All the villains, all the characters here are worth revisiting, and that's probably the biggest sort of compliment I can give the film. Is that they've made a universe that you want to come back to, and that means they've accomplished their goals.
And the MCU has done exactly what they wanted to do. They didn't get just Spider-Man's foot in the door, they got him in the building. You want to see where they go with it.
Absolutely.
Because in the back of your mind, okay, it's the first Spider-Man MCU film, you kind of subconsciously know that it's not going to be the biggest, most bombastic thing ever. You know that it's going to be like, cool, we're putting him in here and we're making it feel like he's always been here.
As long as you go in with the right mindset, Spider-Man is not the top dog in this universe, so his story isn't going to have the most gravitas. It is a really good time.
My final verdict is watch it, you'll have fun.
Yeah, solid recommend.
I recommend it.
My final verdict is listen to what I've said and determine my opinion. It's a Captain America! That has been the spoiler-free section. It's probably gone on so much longer than either we intended or you would ever watch. But this is only for our posterity. We don't care. if you actually watch it or not. But anyway, if you have watched up to this point, we actually do love you, and we will sign your breasts.
If you don't,
then we'll give you a firm handshake and have a conversation about Spider-Man films. Because if you
we'll
watch
have
this
a
much of
Spider-Man.
it-
We'll have a conversation about Spider-Man with you too if you have breasts.
Oh yeah,
We're not
We're not,
sexist.
but we're not going to sign your breasts if you're a dude.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure having you with us, and we hope to see you again soon. Whoa, that was exhausting. Oh, there was no rapport. Like during the show, nothing.
No
Then
banter.
encore,
No
encore.
banter. But no, they wanted more.
Crashed and burned. Okay.
2 hours more.
How are we going to do this again?
We're not. Well, we're gonna recharge for the next year. Speaking of recharge, I'm gonna grab my nightcap.
It's funny because this is the kitchen. It's almost like we had to contrive a reason just to get you off stage.
What the fuck?
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.